tonight's The Hobby Table. I'm your host, Blake, here with Obi. What are you doing, dude? Obi, stop. Dude, do not lose Skywalker. Put the lightsaber away. Oberon, we have an episode to record, dude.
What? Oh.
We're recording,
what?
dude.
What?
Put your laser dildo away. We have recording to do, man. Fuck.
Was that today?
Yes.
Shit. Oh my lord.
Gee.
Got my days all mixed up.
Glad it was only you playing around with your fucking lightsaber. We saw nothing more vulgar.
Right? Oh man, these new release days is messing me up.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. Anyone that doesn't know, we're releasing on a Wednesday now.
Exactly. So.
Oh, anyway, here with my host, Obleron, the Force sensitive, apparently.
This is not the Obi you're looking for.
I love it. How are you, man?
Yeah, dude. I'm happy to be here. It's been a long time since we chatted, and we had to get it going.
But between episodes, obviously.
Yeah, but sometimes life gets in the way, and we don't end up talking that much as we would like.
Yeah. Well, time zones are a thing too, obviously. I feel like sometimes you're just getting in for the day as I'm leaving for the night with the guys.
Exactly.
It's like, hi, Ovi, bye, Ovi.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, today, just a little story time. I was talking to my little brother, right, Shano, Nib Nectar. And he was saying that he was trying to learn a Trivium song on his guitar, and he was getting super frustrated because, he's playing the notes correctly, but he doesn't sound like Trivium. And, his logic was, he needed a better guitar to take it to the next level and sound a bit more like that way. And that's not necessarily true. So I thought today you and I should talk about how to take your guitar tone to the next level and sort of shoot for what your sound is.
Yeah, how to get the sound you are looking for.
Yeah, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there on what matters and what doesn't matter as far as, tone and things like that, So, this is definitely one for the music guys. Sorry about our Warhammer painter guys. You're just going to have to accept that not every episode is Warhammer.
Yeah, exactly. We are also musicians, and we build Gundams, and obviously lightsabers. So there's a lot of things going on with us.
Gee.
So not just Warhammer, and this is going to be a long episode that we've been putting it on a little bit because it's a pretty big subject too.
Well, it's one of those ones that we've had on the back burner for a while, and we've been sort of piling stuff onto for a bit.
Yeah.
Because, we know not everyone's musicians, but when we do an episode for the musos, we like it to be a good chunk of content,
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, sweet. So what have you been up to, Obi? What have you been doing in Hobbyland, brother?
My lord, I actually finished those Mark 6 Marines I was talking about last time.
Oh.
Finally.
Finally.
Yes. I also painted up a miniature for my girlfriend's birthday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was really cool looking. I'm excited for it to give it to her. And
Nice.
I also finished one of the 5 commission pieces for Mitson. So hello, choo.
Oh, Shitson. Nah.
Oh my! That was you that said that. That wasn't me.
Well, look, he did send you resin models. I think it was worth it. We love you, Mitson, but you are forever a heretic for that.
I think half of our episodes are me complaining about Mitson's goddamn resin model.
100%.
Oh my lord!
We haven't disc Bix through in a while though, so just waiting for that lawsuit to blow over.
Fair enough, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've been doing right now is I've started painting my Redemptor, and I royally screwed up with putting up the whole first color already. So
yeah, I did see that. That's unfortunate.
Okay, so I'll explain what happened. Is I'm painting the metallics right now. So the dreadnought is basically metallic all over, besides the panels, which are in the main focus of the whole miniature. So I'm painting in the metallics, getting all under all the panels, and of course, accidents happen. So
That's how we got here.
Yeah. Whoa. Whoa, my mom listens to this.
Actually, to be fair, I actually wasn't an accident, so I assume you weren't either. Sorry, Mum Lauren. We would never assume such a thing of you.
So, yeah, I managed to spill a little on a panel. But this one was a little too big for my liking. Like, the other ones I could probably mask up by edge highlighting, but this one was too big. So, if you're quick, you can just dab your brush off, rinse it off in water, clean off just rub where you painted, and usually it comes off. But in this case, since I airbrushed the primer and the base colors on with nice gradients, it was so thin that it rubbed off completely straight away. And I even used a clear coat on this thing, and it still rubbed off, and I'm super mad about it.
Yeah, so that's rough. I saw that and I was like, bro, I weep for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was not a good time, and I actually haven't put any paint on it since.
It's hard, man. It's discouraging when that sort of stuff happens.
Yeah, it's really discouraging, and I'm just trying to get back into the hang of painting every day again, and it's like,
pretty soon, Obi, you'll have me painting with you at least once a week again.
Hell yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, maybe not once a week, but as often as I can, When I'm painting, it'll probably be with you.
Sick. Which means that for our people in the Discord, that we will probably have hobby nights coming up. If you're interested in that.
For sure.
So hit us up if you're interested, because we are very keen to do more hobby nights.
Absolutely.
Back to you. What have you been up to?
Man, not a lot of hobby, but just a lot of stuff to sort of get it going. Like, I moved all my computer gear and all my guitars and that. It's sort of consolidated it all in one room. I'm just making like a little Blake zone to hang out in. So there will be a hobby desk there. I'll get to paint a bit more and all that there. Other than that, I'm playing a bit of guitar here and there. Dealing with the car. I fucking broke a sway bar end link and I had to have the car at the shop the other day, so that's always fun when that sort of stuff happens.
Yeah. But you did get some good news with it, that it's actually in a pretty good shape, so...
Yeah, so the mechanic reckons that it's in pretty good nick, so... Which is always nice when the mechanic says your car is actually a really good example of a car. You're like, good. Yeah. It's better than your car's a lemon, sell it, so... But, what else? Oh, I've been dealing with, one of my fish, he's developed what's called hole in the head disease, which is pretty rough. It's basically, it's a parasite that is normally, if they have it, it's normally kept at bay by their immune system. But if they cop a lot of stress, it can affect them. And once it gets them, like, their face just starts, like, fucking eroding, pretty much. So what ended up happening was my two Oscars, they used to fight a bunch. And the longfin one got the shit beat out of him, and, like, he was okay. And then the one that was beating him up jumped out of the tank the other week and fucking died, like I said, which sucked.
Yeah.
And now after that, the longfin one started getting a hole in the fucking head, dude. So he's got, like, craters forming in his skull. I don't know what's going on, but, like, I checked my water parameters and they weren't too bad. Like, it was, I've definitely had Oscars in worse, let's just say that.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty hardy fish, but yeah, dude has fucking a hole in the head, so I went to the local fish store and got some stuff, and hopefully that helps. I'm doing water changes, like 70% of the tank every 3 days. So it's a lot of water, but hopefully I fix him, and he'll just have a few little craters in his head instead of losing half his face and dying.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Tough times, man. This is what I say to people, like, fish are great, but just understand that fish dying is part of the hobby too. It does happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough, but it does happen. So
I definitely flushed a fair few goldfish in my life.
Oh, that's the problem with Oscars, bro. They're too big to get out of the toilet. Like, I had this motherfucker out of the tank the other day, man. He's nearly the size of a Subway sandwich.
Oh my lord.
He's like this, man. He's not quite, but like he's very large,
So we're referring to like sandwich sizes now, or we're turning American or what?
Well, hey, I'll have you know, our audience is predominantly American, so I thought
actually Australian.
Well, it was American last time I looked. Have the Aussies made a comeback?
I'm pretty sure it was Australian.
But yeah, so that's about it. Been doing stuff and things. The girlfriend's moving in soon, so everything's moving around quite rapidly.
Ah, nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it is US indeed.
Yeah.
Probably our Tacticus fan club.
Oh.
Love it.
Man. Well, I'm glad we have a Tacticus fan club because I'm terrible at the game. Anyway. Cool, man. So, I think a good place to start is for us to go over the things that can affect your tone on your guitar. Now, when you and I say tone, we generally mean your distortion, like your heavy tone. Because, like, I'm a metal player, you're a metal player. Tone can mean any sound your guitar makes, really, but we, in this case, are specifically refer to a certain tone, like, say, Dimebag sound or Conan sound, like, getting to a certain place, because they're very distinct within the sound space.
Yeah, definitely. Like, they're very unique in their ways as well. And, like, the clean tone in itself won't really be as impactful either. Like, sure, you can have a little twangier tone or a little cleaner or a little brighter. But in the end, if you slap a distortion over it, be it your amp distortion or your pedal distortion, it will change the sound of your whole tone we're talking about tremendously.
Yeah. And look, there is a tremendous amount of variation in clean, but as with everything, if me and Obi don't know enough about it, talk about it, we don't. We like to speak out of our asses, and I'm not a country musician. I don't know how acoustic guitars work. I don't have a grandpa guitar. So I'll talk about what we do know about, which is metal.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So
for Blake, it will be more the heavier metal. For me, it will be more a doom sound, heavy fuzz music.
Well, my stuff goes more towards like more death metal tones and stuff like that, like death metal and groove metal sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's but bands like Trivium, Pantera, stuff like that. That's more towards where my tone is. It's very aggressive and hard hitting.
Yeah, a little bit brighter.
A lot brighter, but it's got more of a glassy sound to it than yours does, for instance.
Yeah,
yours is more of a
more of a bass sound with very much accentuated on the low mid tier.
Yeah, so mine's designed to have a strong basis in support with it. Like it's the high to mids with a bit of low. Yours is much lower. Generally.
Yeah, but what will usually happen in doom bands is that you'll have two guitarists, for example, or just one guitarist and a bassist who are nearly running in the same range almost. So,
which is it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah, music is very cool. So
depends what you're playing.
Cool. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So what can go and affect your tone then?
Well, rapid fire, we'll do these one by one. The first thing is your guitar.
The pickups in the guitar.
Yeah, your amplifier.
Exactly. Your amplifier usually goes into a speaker cabinet or, speakers.
Mm-hmm. Your tuning.
What I would say,
the tuning of your guitar will affect the way it sounds.
Exactly.
If you're trying to chase a trivium tone, but you're playing an E standard, and the song's in C sharp, you're just not going to sound right. And that sounds simple, but a lot of people don't know it when they start. So
yeah. Well, it's kind of to do with this frequency ranges of like if you fret a note on the string, the string changes length, and if you need that note, but at the 0 fret or like an open string, it's gonna sound weird if you're fretting that one like halfway across the board.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So tuning, then we have, of course, in front of the amplifier or in the effects loop, you have a bunch of pedals you can use as well.
Yep. And the final one is the person playing it. So much more of the tone is in the fingers of the player than people realize.
Yeah. Like I could play one of your guitars and I could still make it sound like me playing.
Yep. I guarantee you if I played one of your guitars, it'd still sound like death metal. Or Pantera. It'd sound Pantera, even though it's a drop A or whatever. So
exactly. Cool. So this is like a good gathering of little bullet points that we can get into to discuss a little bit more what we can actually change and what will affect your overall tone of your guitar sound. So I'd say this start is the guitar actually complete construction. It plays a minor part in the whole picture of tone. If I would say like somewhere around 5-10% maybe.
Despite what people tell you about tone woods, and all that garbage, the guitar you play is about the feel. Play what feels comfortable to you and nice for your hands. That is more important than the sound it's going to make. And we'll get into why.
Yeah. Your guitar is built up in a couple of different things. So you have, the actual wood construction of the guitar. You have your strings. And you have these sort of magnets which will pick up the sound. Which is where the name is coming from. Pickup. Guitar pickup.
They're called pickups, exactly.
It picks up the sound of your strings, basically. In the metal genre, we're usually going to use humbucker pickups. They will look like 2 bars or like a bigger cover. If
like a rectangle black cover, usually.
Yeah. EMGs usually have that big black cover, or the new Fishman Fluids pickups are
Fishman's,
like a really big bar as well. And these will make it easier to do like it will get a little bit better distortion sound out of it, and it will give you better pinch harmonics.
Yeah. So I guess the way I've always thought of it is if you think of a distorted guitar tone through a single coil pickup, think of it as like peaks and crests, or like peaks and valleys, right? Because it's one pickup doing that. But when you add the second pickup, the humbucker, it's like double that. So it's just better. It's got more depth. It's just the way to go. Some people play on single coils, like I think Yngwie Malmsteen and things like that, but they're not really on the forefront of modern metal tone. Let's just say,
No, and they're more of that brighter guitar sound, more leads playing.
And less gain, less high gain, basically.
Exactly. They rely more on the amp overdrive, just like quite clean, just on the edge to overdrive, basically, where they will push a little bit with pedals.
But once again, that comes down to you experimenting and figuring out what you want to do. You want to shoot for that? Then go.
Exactly. But, humbuckers, for example, also have the option to coil split, which means that you'll just be using the one coil of the pickup. It doesn't really sound like a single pickup will if per se, but the option is usually there to do it.
With some guitars, yeah. Like I know Solar guitars offer coil splitting and stuff like that. Depends what you got.
Exactly. I think my Skirvison has a special kind of modification as well, that it will like use different coils of I don't know how it works. It's like a little special circuit in there as well.
Not one of my guitars has that.
Really?
Not one. Not one has a split thing. Not one.
Oh.
Because most of my Dimebag guitars, man.
I think even the Ormsby has it, where you pull up like the tone knob.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe when Solar releases that X-shaped guitar, maybe then.
Yeah, for real. So, we're talking about the guitar construction here. What you want to take the next part?
Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, everyone used to fucking wank on about tone woods. Like, the guitar's made out of basswood, it's not going to sound as good as my solid unicorn horn mahogany wank fest machine. There's no way your guitar can sound good. And man, look, recent guitar experiments that are blowing up pretty big on the internet have shown that that's actually a load of shit.
Yeah.
There was this guy, he had a set of like pickups and things like that in one of those DIY build guitars. I don't know if you saw this over, but basically he was playing it, and he'd cut off more and more bits of the wood as he went. And there is no audible difference between having a full guitar to what he eventually did, which was have the bits mounted on a bench with the strings stretched across a gap. There was no audible tone difference in like the actual sound. So to me, that dispels the wood density and blah blah blah. Maybe if you have an acoustic or a hollow body, yes.
Yes, definitely
but
there.
In a solid body electric guitar playing through like humbucker pickup snap, there is no discernible difference that we can tell.
Exactly.
So that's a big one.
Yeah. So however, there I think the differences in tone woods is more in the way they feel to you, in the way they vibrate. Usually when I play, it's the guitar is hanging like somewhere around my belly area. I put my guitars quite high, so it's like the top belly rib cage area, and usually
I'm fat, so mine's at the same place.
So what it does is my different guitars, they will vibrate at different frequencies, and the vibrations will feel different in the way they transfer to you. So the feeling you get from playing a guitar with a different construction, with different woods, will feel more personal, but it won't translate out towards your tone sound.
So that's what we were saying about, it's about comfortability and preference versus sound. Right? Yeah. So like, I really like my Dimebag guitars. They're a solid mahogany construction. They have a really nice gloss finish neck, which I like. A lot of people hate. Yeah. But to me, they got nice binding. It all feels premium to me, and I like that. That's my thing. It suits me. And I go for similar style guitars. But if you give me, say, a Fender Stratocaster with no neck binding, I feel like my hand's going to get chopped up, and it's all, it doesn't feel right. So it's just one of those things. That is personal, but as far as sound, there's very little discernible difference.
Exactly.
So, I will let you get the next part, Obi. Actually, no, you just did that one. But, so, what does make the difference, rather than your tone woods, is your pickups and your wiring quality of said pickups.
Yeah.
So, the wiring quality won't change your tone, but if you have poor wiring quality, you'll get a lot of interference and feedback into your signal. So it's in your best interest to buy a guitar that doesn't have shitty electronics, because you're just going to be fighting the squeal all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not nice. We've all been there. But the real one is just having good branded pickups. Or not even branded, but just finding pickups that work for you. Most of my Dimebag guitars, they're fitted out with Seymour Duncan Dimebuckers and a Dean DMT bridge, but I also have EMGs in my Wild Audio, which I love. You know, one
there's
guitar that
also
really lets
difference.
me down is my Ibanez 7-string. They are very cheap pickups, and they have no bite to them.
Yeah.
Like, none. So...
Yeah. You mentioned EMGs and Seymour Duncan's, by the way. There's also difference between those, that they're active and passive pickups. What are active pickups is that they're battery powered, and usually they will sound a lot brighter as well and more shrill, what I feel. Whereas passive pickups will be more warmer tones.
I agree. Cleans on my EMGs don't generally sound very nice.
Yeah.
Because they lack the warmth, they're a bit more twangy, but if you're doing, like, you know, E-string attack sort of stuff and very heavy rhythmic stuff, they are very bright for that, and the sound space is very distinguished. They sound very good. Same as, like, pinch harmonics are very bright on them. So if you're playing stuff like, you know, like early Trivium or Black Label Society, EMGs are perfect for that sort of stuff. But if you're playing more, I guess, deeper and sludgier shit and more aggressive in that way, the passive pickups are great. Like, the Dimebuckers are very high output passive, so it's warm, but it's got a lot of crunch to it. So, really good pickup for that. I do recommend it.
Yeah. I've had my fair experience with pickups as well, and the only AMG set I really liked was the 5766 set. Those, because they sounded a lot like passive pickups to me, at least.
Yeah. I think I'm running 81, 85 or something, just the classic Wild style classic
ones. Exactly.
But, you know, I paid $700 for the guitar and it sounds good for what it is, so...
Yeah.
For a $2,500 guitar, I wasn't going to complain about the EMGs.
Exactly. No, and you can change pickups in the end too.
It is one of those things too, where these days nearly everyone records on Fishman fluences. Yeah. Like anyone that uses active. So I actually enjoy the more early 2000s sound of the EMGs over that. Because it doesn't sound genty, it just sounds heavy, and I enjoy that.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, I'm personal preference for me is also passive pickups, just because of the usually I can get more into the low end of the tier, which is, you know, doom sounds. Yeah. You want low mids.
Honestly, man, it depends on the day for me. Like if I'm playing some Black Sabbath, I'm playing on passives. If I'm playing, you know, really heavy death metal shit, or like Children of Bodom sort of shit, I'm playing on the EMGs. It just depends on the day.
Exactly. You quickly mentioned there good electronics. If you ever had the issue of picking up radio sounds while you're playing through your amplifier, that's usually caused by terrible grounding and grounding inside your electronics cavity. So what usually you'll do is you'll have a conductive paint covering in the insides of the electronics cavity just to ground out the
to
noises, basically.
It's to make a small Faraday cage around your electronics, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
If they've done a poor job of that, you will get interference. That being said, Bevan used to live at this place really close to a radio tower, and it didn't matter what you did.
Yeah.
It would come through. And it was always a religious radio station. It was very funny. You've been playing metal and then telling us about Jeebus, you know? And I'm just like, what's going on here?
The issue that I had a lot in Sweden is that houses have terrible wiring. So that means that they don't have a ground wire in the sockets, which means that my amplifiers aren't grounded, which will lead most of the noise actually out of your signal. But since there's terrible wiring in most of the houses in Sweden, it's been a constant struggle, like figuring out where to put my amplifiers and trying to get the cleanest sound as possible, because, you know, once you put up the distortion,
we have the top two and then the bottom one's a ground wire, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fine.
It's the same, but what it usually is that it's like 30, 40-year-old wiring and electrics in the houses, which means that's pre-ground prong. So
right.
if you want to push that little bit more cleaner sound, find yourself a good socket that's grounded.
You heard it here first, folks. So if you want your guitars to sound good, sprinkle some dirt on the amp. Grounding.
No, not that way, but sure. Alright, so the last thing on our guitars is the strings, obviously. If you have strings that are 3 years old and haven't changed them, you will have very
I told you to change them.
You'll have very dull sounding sound as well. So if you change up the new strings, you'll have a brighter sound again, which will usually be the standard of your tone. Give it a little week before they actually settle to the place where they're supposed to be, and then they'll be good to go.
For the record, Obi, I can actually beat you on string age. My Dime O-Flame has a set of DR long lives on it that I've had on this since I was 21.
Jesus.
10-year-old strings, they sound dead as fuck, but they're alive, you know?
So if you're a Warhammer nerd, old strings are really cool things to add to your bit box.
Ching. Yes. You can use them for pinning bits of your arms and stuff, which I've done before.
Yes.
I've used them for I use cork for bits of elevation on my bass. So if I have a guy standing on one foot, I'll actually run a guitar string on a bent angle through the cork and then drill a hole in his foot and glue it in. So it's sort of you know, defying gravity. So guitar strings are fucking awesome. You can use them as barbed wire too.
Yeah, it's perfect. Sick. Yeah. So that was guitars. Why don't we hop over to the next section? You want to take that?
You must be talking about amplifiers.
Oh, amp me up, baby.
So look, amps will be the thing that mostly shapes your tone. Pickups are great, but if you're playing through a fucking, you know, a little $2 thing off fucking eBay, it's gonna sound like garbage. And it's not a gatekeeping thing, it's just a thing that's gonna happen. You know, there's no way around it. So, there are plenty of good amps out there that'll help you achieve some chuggy goodness. I personally play PV and Randall most of the time. Like, I have a PV Valve King 50-watt head with a quad cab that goes with it. I also have a Randall solid state 100-watt. I prefer the sound of the Valve because it's a bit more glassy and a bit more my style. But, you know, Obi from memory plays orange amps.
Well, pretty much all of it is orange.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, because I just love that glassy crunch with mine. So, and you know, Dimebag was a Randall player, so that was sort of where I started. And then I realised that Randall's not quite what it was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
It sort of died in the arse, so I started going to PV because they had the 6505, and then the 5150 branched off from there as well. 50, when Van Halen bought it, so yeah. You can also get Bulgara does a copy of the 6505. So yeah. Anyway, as we were saying though, getting off track.
You were talking earlier valve amps, and the other style is transistor amps.
Or what you'd hear called solid state, right?
Solid state, yeah.
Solid state is what you'll probably hear them said as.
Yeah, they're built up with transistors, basically, which will amplify the sound.
So Obi's an electromancer, so he'll say transistor, but most people will say solid state.
Correct. Yeah. Now, the big difference between these two are the solid state will be more of a digital kind of sound, I would say.
More fizzy as well, I find, generally.
Exactly. While as the valve amps will bring you a lot more warmth to the sound, and usually will bring a lot more punch than a like 100-watt solid state amp won't get the same volume levels as a 100-watt valve amp is what I feel. They will feel like they put out like at least double that.
Yeah, my 50-watt valve amp through the quad cab actually rattles windows like easily. Yeah. I don't play it over half without damaging hearing.
Yeah. I play it over half. I play that max, and everything's just shaking.
That's why you couldn't hear me before when you were playing with your lightsaber.
Yeah. I have damaged hearing. It's also an issue. So, what the recent latest years have brought up especially for modern metals, is a new amp which is like a modeler, like the Axe-Fx and the Kemper, which will emulate amplifiers. So I think the Axe-Fx works as it has a sound clip of an amplifier. So, and then you can turn the knobs on the Axe-Fx, and it will sort of get you the same curves as the amplifier you're trying to model, but it's not quite there. You need like
it's basically digital shenanigans.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think it's handy if you're a new player and you don't have tens of thousands of dollars to dump in their amps.
Yeah, but these are expensive. The Axe-Fx is expensive. Yeah.
But just amp modelers in general, you can get them for these days.
Yeah, there's different types too. Like the new Boss Katana, for example, is also one of those kinds, which does it pretty good. It's not all the way there yet, but it's pretty good. The Axe-Fx is one of the more expensive ones. You also have Kemper, for example. This one will copy the sound of the amplifier you're playing through it, and then it will make a copy of that sound. So you can't turn any knobs while you're doing it, because then the profile won't be correct. And it also won't have the same interaction when you're turning like the equalizer on the Kemper. Then it won't be the same.
I think your guitar, your actual pickups would have pretty much no effect on this, because it's a digital override of your sound, basically.
Exactly. Like it plugs in like into the in of the amplifier, and then it goes like in the FX. I don't know how it works. It's shenanigans. Shenanigans. But yeah, I think these different kind of amplifiers and what they do and how they work is it warrants itself to an episode in its own, because different amplifiers are it's just a huge kettle of fish that I don't think we can put all the information you would want to know about amplifiers in this short section.
It also comes down to, do you guys even want to hear about amplifiers for an entire episode? If you do, let us know, we'll do it. If you don't, then we'll do it later.
I'm huge into talking amplifiers. I think it's probably the best.
We both are.
The coolest thing ever.
Let's be real, we do these music episodes for ourselves.
No.
Yeah, look, but for me, for my money, if you're after a dependable metal amp, you can't go wrong with a 6505 by PV or a 5150. More so the 6505 though. It's a true classic, man. It's what most people tend to record through. Like, people used to use Master or JCMs and stuff like that, but for me, the guitar tones have always gravitated towards, after Dimebag, were generally 6505s with a Gibson or something like that. Like, that's very standard. That's what Trivium used. And also, I can't remember the model name, but Bagheera did a 6505 clone. So if you can find one for cheap enough and you're on a budget, give it a go. You might fucking love it. But if not, 6505, man, for sure.
Yeah, PV is definitely a good choice to go there.
That's what I would recommend. They're expensive, but you know, I think that if you had that, you'd be like, yeah, this is the amp I need. And they're not that expensive compared to other high end amps.
Yeah.
What do you want to go?
like I've owned a plethora of amplifiers. I started with Marshall's solid state, moved on to a valve head, which sounded amazing at the time. Then I managed to pick up an Angle, a Blackmore signature, which is it's the baby brother to a Savage, which is a huge metal beast. Which is it's good. I bought up a good cabinet, and then I just started swapping out. I changed genres of music completely and started gravitating towards Orange now because more of a doom sound. And like the big thing about all these things, these are different amplifiers, is that they will do a thing very good. They're all very good for their specific genres. For example, like Marshall will be good for punk and classic rock and Yngwie Malmsteen stuff. Engels will be more death metal style. Oranges will usually be used for doom metal. And
that being said, I think that if you're handy with an EQ, I think that a good amp will generally be pretty versatile. It just might not necessarily excel. So like, I know for a fact that I could get my Valve King doing doom metal if I wanted. But that would be more of a adjust my tuning, adjust my pedal rig, things like that, rather than swapping out my amp. But if you're starting from the ground up and you know you want to play doom, just go with what they use, you know?
Which usually is with Orange or what's the other one? The green one. I don't remember. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
But like Jim Root plays Orange from Slipknot. So does old mate from fucking Mastodon, Brendan Hines. So like, you know, if I could get, honestly, one amp head I really fucking want is the Randall Satan. Head. Yes. I would love one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I might have to get you to find me one sometime since you live in Sweden, the land of Olmas.
Exactly. So, the biggest kind of thing that I've done was definitely move up to tube amplifiers for my personal sound, which has led me to actually use 2 amp heads at the same time. So, the way I use this is that one amp will be a very heavy fuzzy sound and the other amp will be more of a high gain kind of sound, and mash them together and you'll get like a really good chug. So I would like one more amp actually to add to the pile to run 3 at the same time, but you know, nitpicking.
I would love to see you add some death metal to that shit. Let's go, mate. Let's start an internet death metal band.
For real.
But our song subject would be all about spilling your null oil and stuff like that, like the death that occurs.
Exactly. Yeah, spilling ink or paint everywhere. So, a little suggestion that I wanted to give. You gave the 6505, but the Orange Micro Dark is like a good hybrid valve amp. So it has like one valve, which will give you 15 watts, but the equalizer, the EQ section will still be of a solid state. So it's kind of a hybrid, and it's easy to dial in, and it's still pretty good. It has a effects loop as well, so you can change up your sound completely. Another good 15 watt amp would be the 5150 Mini. A little bit more expensive, but you know, if you want that sound, like more of a high gain sound, the 5150 will get you there. The Mini will definitely too.
I've heard the PRS Tremonti amp is also a phenomenal, like, starter, like more beginner oriented valve amp, like full valve amp. Yeah. So check that bad boy out as well.
For real.
It's still a bigger one, but yeah.
Yeah, and like we said, tube amps will get really loud. Like my 50 watt Orange amp, it will move my pants away around when I'm standing in front of it. Like, it's super loud.
Honest to God, man, like, we're gonna sound like old people here, but personally, I think if you want your tone to go from like, practice amp to like, this is my big boy amp, I think that a Valve amp is the step up.
Yeah.
In my opinion. You can go digital if you want, I don't really know about that shit, but for me, like Obi said, my tone really shaped into what it is now when I got a Valve amp.
Exactly. Cool. So Valve amps, we're talking about amp heads, which is one part of the equation. But that means that you need a second part, which is a speaker cabinet. So that's the next part we're going to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of some amplifiers come with an integrated speaker. That's called a combo amp. Mm-hmm. But generally when you're buying more higher end and better stuff, you usually get a separate head and box. Yeah. And then that's how my thing is. So, yeah. And some combo amps actually have a slave output that goes straight into a cabinet as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Another good way of upgrading an amp cabinet, or even just speakers, is just to upgrade even the speakers inside it. So you might go on Facebook Marketplace, right? And you might say, oh, look, a Behringer amp cabinet. You get it for $300. It probably sounds a bit shit. You know what I mean? Right? Maybe it's a bit beat up, whatever. If those speakers in there don't do it for you, you can pretty easily, with basic electronics knowledge, swap out those speakers for much better speakers. And you'll only pay a couple $100 for a speaker or two. You don't really need two, like a 2x12 is still a big amp. So, that's still huge. So, if you can do that, maybe you got a good deal on a pretty beat up cabinet, and then you got a good deal on some other, maybe the Celestion greenbacks or Hessu Demon speakers, whatever's going around, P30s. Maybe you do that, and that helps you. You can buy a cabinet that has good speakers in it, but if they're not good, or you just want variety, buy different speakers and put them in.
Yeah. My personal suggestion is to spend a little bit more money on the the cabinet. If there's something you want to cheap out on, look at a cheaper amp head with valves, but don't skip on the cabinet. You said there is 1x12 cabinets. They sound fine, but for example, I bought my Orange PPC 2x12. I think I've had that cabinet for the longest. All the rest of my gear has changed completely over the past 15 years, but that cabinet has stayed with me. So that's something to say about how good it is. And that's just using normal stock V30s. If you want, you can swap out the speakers, but I don't feel like I need it because they do the job that I require them to do, and it's a solid cabinet.
Because it's your sound. That's the thing. It's your sound.
But that doesn't mean that this Orange will do... It will be really good at different genres as well. A lot of people use still Orange cabinets with different amp heads. Yeah. Because the Orange cabinet is bulletproof. It can withstand a storm and it will survive. Your house could burn down and that cabinet will survive. They're built absolute.
It's funny actually because I was running a Randall slant face cabinet with my PV Valve King, and it sounded pretty good, but the ohmage wasn't correct, right? And I was like, whatever, not a big deal. Hopefully it doesn't blow shit up, whatever. Didn't worry about it too much. But then my buddy that I play guitar with, Marshall, he was playing through a Randall head and had a PV Valve King cabinet, and we're like, hold on. Let's just swap, because we paid roughly the same for them. So I got the matching cabinet to my amplifier, and he got a matching cabinet to his amplifier, and everything just sounded way better instantly.
Yeah.
Because it just worked better.
Yeah. That's kind of a big thing when pairing. Make sure that the ohmage is correct, because that could fuck up either your speakers or your amp head. And those are expensive pieces to replace. So make sure that you check out your wiring and that they are the correct values.
Honestly, just do 20 minutes of research. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Like every time I'm unplugging my cabinets, I'm like, how do I wire this up again? Because I have 4 cabinets running into 2 amps. It's just
ridiculous.
It's scratching in the head a little bit, but you figure it out well if you got your brain on. So yeah, high suggestion, good cabinet, like the orange or the Engel or the Mesa Boogie 2x12. If you want the 4x12, sure, whatever, but the 2x12 will do perfectly fine.
Well, I have a 4x12.
Yeah, me too. But yeah. I have the 4x12, but the 2x12, it's totally fine. It will do perfect with just that one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, honestly, a 2x12, you can play with a live drum kit in a garage, and you'll still be as loud as you need to be.
I did. I absolutely did. With the 50-watt amp. So,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Actually, one tip, never underestimate how much having a slant on your speaker adds to your sound. Like, not necessarily your sound, but the way that you hear it. Right? So, your bottom cabinets, some cabinets will be straight-faced, and when you play in front of them, they're blowing their sound right at your chest or your stomach. But if you want to actually hear it, like if you're in a garage situation or whatever, having a slant face, it angles the sound right at your ears, and it sounds so much more audible, even though technically it's not going up any decibels. It's hitting your ears better, though.
Yeah.
It's worth noting. I had just my PV Valve King combo, and we couldn't hear it properly with the drums. So what we did, we put a fucking brick underneath the front of it and angled it up, and then everyone could hear it fine. Because it was blasting our knees, so no one could hear it.
Yeah.
So,
fair enough.
Just a quick tip for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next one, I would say, if we're done with that, Obi, are you good to move on?
Yeah, I think just a little thing, like, to add with slanted versus straight cabs is your sound will change a little bit with that as well. Because with the slant, you're reducing the volume within the cabinet, which means that the low end will not be the same as with the straight cab.
Personally, I prefer the slant. But if you really want to just be a gut puncher, run 2 cabinets, have a fucking straight face on the bottom and a slant on the top, like they used to back in the day. Technically a full stack.
I've made a 6x12, so I got the 4x12 in the bottom, and then the 2x12 like height. So
yeah, that's brutal. The poor ears.
Dude, I swear to God, if I turn up, all of my miniatures are not on the same place anymore. They just dance around. It's insane.
Oh, jeez.
Cool.
So, yeah, sweet. So the next one that'll help you shape your tone is pedals, like guitar pedals. So basically stomp boxes that you put on the ground, they plug into your signal chain, and they can help you a lot. So I tend to run a pretty simple chain, nothing fucking over the top, and laugh if you will, but I run a Behringer Ultra Metal pedal, right? Which sounds stupid, but it has a lot of gain, like more than it is humanly advisable. So I sort of toy with that and dial it just back a bit, and I found my sound with that pedal. I have the Boss fucking death metal pedal or whatever as well. I can't remember what it's called.
Is it the Heavy Metal 7 or something? HM7 or something?
I can't remember. Yeah, but it's a classic, and I don't use it. It doesn't sound as good to me. It's a good pedal, but I prefer my pink Behringer Ultra Metal pedal that I got in high school for buying somebody lunch. It's the same pedal. So I got that. I have a Crybaby Dimebag wah, which is really sick. It's camouflage. It has fucking skateboard grip tape on the face. The Cowboys from Hell could have it. Very, very Dimebag. And I have a Mua Pitch Step, which is basically a Digitech whammy pedal. So I can drop octaves and raise octaves. It's how you get Gojira sounds and Dimebag sounds going, basically.
Yeah.
But if I had a choice, I would get the Digitech whammy over it, but that was just what they had at the time.
Yeah.
You got one? I'll swap you.
No. Yeah. On the contrary to Blake, I have a smorgasbord of pedals. Like, I got the biggest board you can buy, and I filled it completely. So I have, I think, 4 or 5 different fuzz pedals, 1 overdrive. I've got a phaser, a pitch shifter, which is the whammy that Blake was talking about. A tuner pedal, which is also a splitter. I got a noise gate because I still have a lot of noise to deal with. And the coolest of them all is a rainbow machine. Yes, you're laughing.
A rainbow machine, huh?
It's so cool, and I'll play it to you later someday. It's amazing.
Did you ever see the Steel Panther? What was
the
it?
Pussy Belter?
Pussy Belter pedal?
Yeah.
I really wanted that, man.
Yeah. Besides that, I also have a delay and a reverb, which is just, to make fancy, clean sounds, like atmospheric stuff.
That's it for grandpas. I think he knows that.
Yeah. So that means that I have a lot of pedals, but
How many do you actually use?
Honestly, I switch between all of them all the time.
Okay, but I mean, like,
sounds.
Your go-tos.
My go-to is the Frosted Giant Electronics Massive, and I could probably do with just the overdrive too, which is a special overdrive.
Oh, did you see Ola put out that distortion pedal, the chug pedal?
No, I didn't actually.
Ola England has his own fucking like overdrive pedal now through solo guitars. I really want it. It's got chug written across it. That sounds phenomenal. Key.
Yeah. So, because I got so many pedals, I also have a thing called a pedal switcher, which will just be swapping presets for me, and it will change channels on my amplifier as well. It's insane. It's so much to think about, and I cry every time that there's something wrong because it takes me forever to figure it out. But it's cool when it works.
Hey man, can I play your guitar? Sure. Have you got your university engineering degree with you? You're gonna need it.
Exactly. Like if I'm taking my whole rig away and playing on stage, like, it's a nightmare to set it up. It takes me as much time as a drummer.
Yeah, you don't have that, like, that fucking bestial gorilla strength that a drummer does either. You gotta, like, schlep it all up with your little weak guitar man arms. That's funny. Yeah, nice.
Cool.
The other one, now, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but tuning.
There was, like, one more thing I kind of wanted to touch on.
Oh, okay, well, you go back and do that then.
Cool. Like,
just run through this shit.
The different pedals that you can use will change up your sound hugely. Like, if you have a clean sound and slap it with a distortion, bam, you got a high gain sound. But nothing will beat the sound of a almost overdriven amp, and you hit it with a tube screamer or an overdrive pedal to push it into high gain territory. And that is just so good. So good.
Yeah. So this is the next part of my sound that I'm actually looking into. I want to get the MXR Zach Wild overdrive pedal.
Oh, I tried it.
And have it play that. Is it bad?
It's bad.
Is it bad?
Yeah. Not the Zach Wild specifically, but it's based on the pedal one, and no, didn't like it.
Okay, well, you can send me a list of good overdrive pedals then that aren't an Ibanez Tube Screamer. And we'll go from there. But, yeah, so that's because I just run a distortion pedal, and to be honest, it works for me. Because I can just go for nice clean to ripping your stomach out and then back to clean if I want.
Yeah.
It's all there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like the way that I got my high gain sound is, like I said, almost overdriven amp, then slap it with an overdrive to get into high gain. And that means that I still have a clean channel to do what I want with, so variety. I love it, and I got it.
Got it. Yeah, so as I was saying, the next one is tuning. So, if you're trying to learn a certain song or trying to sound a bit different, do a bit of research, because tuning plays a huge part in your sound. Like, standard tuning is really easy to learn pop songs and older rock songs and stuff like that. But once you start going down the metal route of shit, you'll quickly see the bands start going lower and lower, and it borders into bass territory. Obi plays drop C. That's actually my tuning that I play a bunch in these days as well, on my Wild Audio V, because it's basically I can play a lot of later Dimebag shit in it. He was playing for Damage Plan, he was playing in C standard, which is the same tuning, but with the thicker string dialed down half, so you don't have to do power chords anymore. I always play drop standards because I'm a lazy bastard. Yeah. So, drop C is what I play in a lot. I also play in drop D and E flat. So, yeah. And it just depends on what you're going for. But, yeah, that's the go-to, man. So, if you go, okay, I want my guitar to sound like this band. A big part of that is to check their tuning, because you just might not be quite in the right tuning, and you might be 65% of the way, but then changing to that tuning is what pushes you in that direction more.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I guarantee you, if you try and play a Korn riff, an E standard, it's not going to work. The notes aren't right. No. You need to be down like drop fucking Z or some shit. You know?
Hey. Okay, my lowest guitar tuning is drop F, which is nearly bass territory. Which is what
drop the F bomb. Fuck.
Which is what Conan plays in. So they're very low tune, very bassy sound. And my personal favorite to still play in is kind of drop C, because you can go to standard detuning pretty fast. Detuning is what Gojira plays in, for example. Drop C is pretty much 60% of all heavy metal bands.
Yep, Children of Bodom, fucking all that sort of shit.
Even Sleep, like this, for example, they also play.
Oh, do they play that?
Yeah, they play drop C.
There you go. So, great, now I have to learn Sleep riffs.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Dum dum da da dum 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 dum. No, I'm gonna get copyrighted for that.
But it wasn't that good of a cover, mate.
Oh, okay. Good. Sick. Yeah, tuning, man. It's insane. Like, I remember the first time I was experimenting with tuning. Like, I wanted to learn Devil Driver, it was. And I just couldn't get it to sound right, man. So I was like, okay, what's the difference here? Okay, their tuning is different. So I took my standard strings and dropped them down. I think they were in drop B or something.
Oh,
not quite sure. So, your strings from standard to drop B, that doesn't go well. Like, you have to adjust the thickness of the strings to
you need thicker strings to have the right tension.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a hassle at most times, but usually you can go up 1 or 2 octaves.
It's funny because I tend to play thick strings even on standard tuning, just because it's what I'm used to, and it probably slows me down so much. But I play 10 or 11 to 52s on all of my guitars, which is like not ultra heavy, but it's heavier than standard for sure.
Yeah. I think my F is 74. But that's then huge. I also have a longer scale. The Ormsby is in 27.5. So yeah, cool. That's
nerdy stuff and whatnot.
Nerd shit.
Yeah.
Fuck
But
yeah.
so that's the shotgun version, basically, of how to sort your tone out. If you have any questions for us or whatever, like, about that shit, feel free to get into us and actually ask, because we're always happy to help out with guitar stuff.
Yeah,
always, and
like
we're not
like questions about amplifiers, guitars, cabinets, whatever, pedals, pedal recommendations. I haven't been big in the game for the past 4 years, but I still know quite a lot, and I don't think it's moved that much ahead.
Even if you need to know how to do a dime bag squeal on your guitar, you ask me, because I know that. No one squeals like me. Oh, shit. But yeah, sweet. So, our next thing is a little thing we like to do every week that we release an episode. And we're going to do a little music review to keep you all up to date with the latest metal releases, or semi-recent at least. And this week, we have one that we were very anticipating. The new Slipknot album, The End So Far. Obi, would you like to give us your thoughts on the new Slipknot album?
I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed with this one, to be honest. They released 3 songs previously, and those ones...
So, they released
Yen,
the Chapeltown Rag, Yen, and The Dying Song.
Yeah, and those ones were pretty damn good. I liked Yen and the other one. Not The Dying Song as much. But those songs are really good, jived well with. But the rest of them are just filler songs for those songs, was what I feel. I don't know. There's no real hooks for the rest of the songs, and for me, in my opinion, it's a very forgettable album. It's play it once and you don't need to play it again. My opinion, of course.
Of course. Do you think people should still check it out, though?
Definitely. I'm a huge Slipknot fan, and I think my first real metal CD was Iowa, which is a whole different beast than what this is. They're still going hard on those heavy songs, not as hard as they did back then, and they've gotten a lot softer. And I don't know, for Slipknot, for being such a nostalgic name, I didn't expect this. It was like I said, it's a very forgettable album for me.
Okay, and how many goblins would you give it?
For the few good songs that there are, probably 4.5 out of 10.
Oh, are you saying that this is the same as Amon Amarth for you?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. All right.
You remember that rating? Jesus.
I listened to the episode today. Yeah, listen to our podcast. What about it? Alright, so for me, when I first listened to it, Adderall, the first track, caught me very off guard. It's not very Slipknot-y. I've grown to not mind it. It's got a vibe to it. I like to just sort of listen to it when I'm driving in my Golf. I don't know why the bass in it's good. I like the first 3 tracks, or the first... Alright, so I love The Dying Song, and I love Chapeltown Rag. I love Yen. The Chapeltown Rag, to me, is just generic. We're trying to sound like Iowa, yet again. The Hive Mind is the same. Most of them don't hit for me that well, but I do like Heirloom and Finale, and there's a few other little hooks in there. I can't remember which track it's off, but the problem is, with this album, I think Corey needs to start Stone Sour back up. Yeah. Because it either sounds like not quite Iowa Slipknot, or it sounds like Stone Sour. There are a few parts in it where we get genuine, this is Slipknot. And maybe it's because this album was written during COVID, when they couldn't all be in the one room, and like Jim Root and stuff like that didn't have as much input as they normally would on the album writing process. I think that's probably got something to do with it. So it was mostly, I think, Corey and Clown. But I think that it has suffered for that. But I'm always happy when Slipknot releases a new album.
Mm.
I am still disappointed because from Slipknot I expect 10s. And on this occasion, I think it's a 6.5. The good songs are like 9s. Maybe a 10 for Yen and Dying Song. I really like those. But, like, when you put this against what Machine Head did on their most recent album...
Yeah, totally agree.
Machine Head slapped this
Yeah.
album. That blew me out of the water, and I was hoping Slipknot would do the same, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Yep. Yeah, they got you excited with those pre-released songs, and the rest was just,
Well, I was saying to Bowen, because when Chapel turned Ragdoll, he's like, bro, have you heard it? And I'm like, man, Slipknot does the same thing every album cycle lately, though. They drop a very heavy track, and they go, this is our heaviest album since Iowa, right? And then they drop their single, which is The Dying Song, right? It's classic heavy Slipknot with, clean singing chorus, good hook, like Unsainted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because last time they did Solway Firth, then they did Unsainted, and then they tend to do a more offbeat song, which this time was Yen. And that was great, but at least with the last album, the rest of the album could back it up.
Yeah.
Like, there was still good songs all throughout it that you're like, ooh, I didn't notice that one or this one. This one is just not as strong. So, 6.5 Goblins, maybe 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
And I was expecting a 10.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
Sad, but
so, we're probably going to get a lot of hate for it, but I don't actually think it's an unpopular opinion, to be honest.
No, I think when people actually will listen to it, they will understand what we're talking about. But like we said, the heavy songs are good to listen to.
That being said, Slipknot's coming to Australia soon, and I'm very excited and hope I get a ticket.
I hope they play more of the Roller albums.
They will. Hey, Slipknot, if you want to see a more favourable review or you want to come on our show, let's do that.
Yeah, for real.
That's it.
Sick.
That's it.
Now, the next section we haven't done in a long time. We haven't had any listener questions in a long time. So,
but it's almost like our listeners are super engaged at the moment and all getting involved. I love it.
Right? That's why I love being on the Discord so much. It's so many people hopping in and out all the time, and the channels are popping up, and I love it. It's good. Good time. Good hangs. But we actually managed to get a few questions this time around.
We did.
You want to take the
We
first
did.
one?
I'm just looking for my stats in relation to the question.
I'll go ask the question and then you can answer. Mikey asks, question for you boys. What is the total listening time on Audible? And when did you guys get into using Audible?
Okay. So... I don't think my listening time on there is accurate, because it reckons I've only listened to 5 days and 15 hours. There you go. In total.
Okay.
So thank you, Mikey, my gorgeous best buddy, for asking such good questions. There's your answer. Well, hold on, what was it? 5 days and 15 hours, which is fucking a lot.
Yeah. When did you get into using Audible?
Gee, it would have been when I joined Lawhammer, so like last year or the year before.
Yeah, fair enough.
So just, pretty recently, to be honest.
Yeah.
Pretty recently.
For me, it was even more recent. I have used it for one book, which I haven't even finished yet. So I have 9 hours on Audible. However, I do listen to audiobooks anyway, but just not through Audible. So have listened to around 25 audiobooks, which are ranging from 8 to 15 hours a piece. So quite a lot of hours there. It's kept me busy a long time, like 2 or 3 days for a book at work. It's pretty good.
Fuck yeah.
When did I get into Audible? Is probably about 6 months ago.
Yeah. It is a good service, but it's very pricey, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not reading books for a while, then you can't use them. It's like, dude, what? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so, Prelia, who is actually really active in the Discord at the moment, so thank you for joining our Discord and hanging out, Prelia. It's nice to see you around. Has asked a follow-up question. All-time favourite book ever, and also fave Warhammer book ever. What do you got?
Yeah, for me, it's actually a series, which is my favorite book. I don't read many books, but one that stuck out to me was the Deathgate Cycle series, which is a 7-book series made by Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman. It's a fantasy story with every story being on a different planet, but they're somehow all intertwined. It's a really cool story. I love it a lot. And my favorite Warhammer book so far would definitely be The Infinite and the Divine. It's a Necron book, and it's really funny. I love it.
I've started listening to it, but I've sort of stalled, so I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't finished it yet. Like, I'm the last 50, 100 pages. I have it on the toilet, but I haven't started reading it yet.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Alright, so I'm going to give you one guess, Obi, for what my favourite book is.
Like all-time favorite book, or just Warhammer?
Yeah, go.
Is it a biography for...
No. It's technically a fiction. If you don't get it, I'm just going to have to assume you don't know me at all.
Is it Jurassic Park?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so I think Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park and The Lost World, either those or Lord of the Rings, obviously, being a Tolkien fan.
Yeah.
Because, predictable answers, but people like those books because they're good books.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Jurassic Park novel is very different to the movie. So, it's cool. It's worth reading. And my favourite Warhammer book ever, I would have to say The Talon of Horus.
Oh, yes.
And then Black Legion after it. Those books, man. I'm waiting for the third one to come out. If it hasn't already, but
should be soon.
Those books fucking slap. They were my first Warhammer novels I read at Matty C's advice, and he did not steer me wrong. They are brilliant.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah. Alright. Question from Drunken.
Yeah, follow-up to the follow-up question. How many times have you listened to your all-time favorite book or read? In my case, I have read the Deathgate Cycle twice, which is pretty hefty for a 7-book series.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. I've done Jurassic Park twice and The Lost World once, but I've listened to The Hobbit or read The Hobbit, read The Hobbit twice and listened to it once, so
yeah.
I guess that's pretty up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for the questions today.
Yeah.
So yeah, the next thing is, man, don't forget to support us on Patreon and jump into the Discord, come and talk shit with us and tell your friends about it and such. We've had a few people taking us up on the Patreon or increasing their support, and we really fucking appreciate that. Like, every time we see someone donates or jumps on there, me and Obi, have schoolgirl, excitement texting each other about it, and, it just makes us really, really want to, put in more effort into the production and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It really does. It makes it all worth it. And we got some stickers printing, I think, at the moment. They're going to be making their way around eventually.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And yeah. the more you guys support us, the more value we can bring you. So don't be freeloaders and give your money to the evil mouse. Give us $1.
Yeah. Fair enough. We've also made a new channel for our Patreons in the Discord.
Yeah, so if you want to be super cool and talk about super cool stuff with us, and even give us, suggestions for episodes and stuff that we may or may not listen to, that's the place to go. Yeah, it's the page table. You can only get there if you pay us money.
Exactly. So it's just there to either give us advice or suggestions, or if you're like Shame Lad, you can tell us off for our stupid stuff.
No. I think you mean tell you off. League Lad is nothing but nice to me.
What? Why is he nice to you and mean to me? I don't like.
I'm Australian. You don't get it. He's just having fun with you.
Yeah, but it's going on for too long now.
Is that why he's a shame wizard?
Yeah, I changed his name to Shame Lad.
Alright. So we also have some new patrons at the moment.
Yes.
We have Courtney has become a patron for us. Thank you for your support, Courtney, and for working us into your podcaster support program that you got going on there. As she explained, we appreciate it. You want to do the next one, Zoe?
Yeah. Now the next two persons, they haven't been new patrons, but they upped their Patreon instead. Shame Lad, he wanted to get his name back. He was previously named League Lad. He has obviously shamed me and got his name changed to Shame Lad. So to change it, he had to up his Patreon. So there we go. Yeah. He did it.
Yeah. And the other one is too. Matthew has become a Patreon again too. It's not in the notes, but I'm not wearing pants, so my juice were flowing enough to allow me to remember that Matthew is now a patron.
Yeah, that's good. Good you remembered. And our other very active member has been Prelia, so she also upped her Patreon a little bit. So thank you so freaking much for your support. We couldn't do this without you, and we got a lot of cool things coming up. So
I mean we could do it, but we wouldn't. We would have quit ages ago. We just played video games instead.
Basically.
Like, honestly.
Exactly. Cool.
Alright, well, I guess if that's all you got to say, then hug your mother, and if you don't have a mum, hug someone else's mum real close. And
we're not using that.
Remember to yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. It stays. It stays where I go, you whore. But yeah, until next time, remember to crank that amp.
You slay that grey.
We are the Knights of the Hobbit Table. We're so bad at that.
We need to figure something else out.
See you later, guys. Bye.